In order for you to develop your chest voice, you got to figure out where it is. So I'm going to show you 3 exercises today to develop and strengthen your chest voice so that you can sing lower notes with more power. Now, the chest voice is going to be different for everybody. For example, if I consider myself an alto, then I might start as low as an F3 or a G3. If you are a tenor, you might start as low as a C3 or D3. If you are baritone, you might start as low as an A2 or a B2. If you are a mezzo singer, then you might start around an A3 or a B3. If you are soprano, you might start as low as C4 or D4. When we do these exercises, I really want you to focus on breath support, articulation, and having an open throat. Before we get into the exercises, understand that when you are singing in your chest voice, your vocal folds are getting shortened and they are thicker, so it's a lot easier to let those chords come in together more firmly than they do in the head voice. However, because it comes in so firmly, we tend to just make it really heavy, and what we want to do is have a lighter connection so that we can transition smoothly to higher notes. And that's usually where the issue is. We have a hard time just transitioning or mixing into our higher voice because we're too heavy with our chest voice. So it's good that we want to focus on our chest voice instead of just focusing on higher notes all the time. For the first exercise, we're just going to find and wake up our chest voice. You are going to start with a hum where your natural speaking note starts at, and then opening up into a ma. Now, I really want you to focus on that vowel ah. Keep your vowel narrow and tall, not too wide. Keep it nice and tall. So lengthen your neck and make sure you have nice posture when you are doing this exercise. This is what it sounds like if I start in my natural speaking note. It should be around an A3. So I would go and that's where I feel the most comfortable to start my chest voice. However, I can still go a little bit lower if I want. I can go as low as an F3, but that's not where my comfortable speaking voice is at. So figure out where that is for you, and we're gonna start on a hum, okay? When you do the hum, keep the ball of energy at the front of your mouth rather than hollow. If it's hollow, it sounds like this. Okay, drive your sound a little bit more forward. So try to pretend like you're eating something delicious and you go, You can feel the vibrations in the front of your face. So try that first before you do the hum. Good. Now let's try the hum where your natural speaking voice is at. Go ahead. Now you're going to do that again, but slowly open up into a ma and produce some sound. Ma. And again. All right, remember how I talked about articulation being a factor with developing and strengthening your chest voice? The ah vowel is very open, right? You don't want to open too much either because then your jaw might be jutting in. You want your jaw to just sit nicely, open it up, but you don't want to be too closed either. It's hard for sound to be amplified that way. So if my mouth is too small like this, I can't really project my sound. But if it is too big, it might sound like this. Right? It's hurting my neck and then it might cause some strain. So a nice medium. Okay, so try that again. Find your natural speaking notes. Hum into a ma. Ma. Very good. Now the challenge is holding out a lower note in our chest voice range. So what you're gonna do is hold that ma out for 4 counts. I will count for you. And I really want you to focus on your chords just staying together. Keep them connected. If there are any breaks in that connection, air will leak through and then you might get breathy like this. Ma, and that's how cracking or flipping can happen. Alrighty, so find that speaking note of yours. You're gonna do a hum, and when you open up into a ma, you're gonna do it for 4 counts. Okay, so I will do it with you. Here we go. Ma. Great, let's do that again. I think I counted that correctly this time. Let's do it one more time. Great. So not only are you working on your articulation with your vowel and your mouth shape, but you're also managing your airflow. If you push too much air out, you might shove your vocal cords apart. But if you don't expel enough air, then no sound is created. Right? So that's a great way to wake up your chest voice, because a hum is a low intensity vocal workout, and then the ma is just a nice gentle way to stretch on that vowel. Okay, now I really want you to determine your entire chest voice range before we go on to the next exercise. And to determine this, you just go up 8 notes, which is also called an octave. And that is essentially where your chest voice range ends, and then you enter your head voice range. The reason why you want to know this is so that you learn when you need to mix and when you need to go into your head voice. And this is where the idea of having a lighter connection in your chest voice will make it easier for you to transition to a mix or to your head voice. So I'm going to start around the A3, where my natural speaking voice starts, and I'm going to go into the hum, into the ma, and then I'm going to slide on that ma up 8 notes and then back down, and that will let me know where my comfortable chest voice range is at. Here we go. So that is my entire chest voice range that I am comfortable to sing at. If I go any more beyond that note, the A4, then I will need to mix and start to transition into my head voice range. So if you were ever confused on knowing where your chest voice range is at, that is how you determine it. For the next exercise, you are going to sing on the word ha, descending down 5 notes, but you're going to make it staccato and accented to work on your breath control. Staccato means short and detach. Accented means to have an emphasis on that note. So when you are doing this, you don't want to be too breathy like this. Ha, ha. It's going to make you tired and fatigue a lot faster. But you don't want to be too pressed or heavy on your vocal cords either, like this. Ah, right? It's too much on your vocal cords, and you are going to cause some strain if you do that. Have a nice medium, light connection, control the amount of air that is coming out, and engage your diaphragm. Do not squeeze in to sing this. You want to engage. So you want to feel some sort of outward motion when you are engaging your diaphragm. So this is what the exercise sounds like. That's it. That's it, like as if you are laughing. Also, this is a great exercise to open up your throat too. If you put your hands around your throat and you do this exercise, you can feel your throat going like this. Out, in, out, in, out, in. So it's also a neck massage if you are doing it correctly. So let's try it again in this key. Again. One more time. Very good. Now, if that was too high for you, just start an octave lower, but you want to do this exercise where your starting speaking note is at, okay? And then once you're comfortable with your range there, you can increase your difficulty to expand your vocal range by going up a few more keys. But do not move up a few keys if you are not ready yet. Really make sure you understand how to work your diaphragm, how to manage that first, and then move on. So let's go a little bit higher. Here we go. I can be a little bit more bouncy there. Here we go. Very staccato. Good. Let's go a little bit higher. Now, it's going to get harder when you go higher. What tends to happen is that we want to strain our neck and look up, reaching for the higher note. But I want you to stay in your chest voice. Okay? Here we go. So I was a little bit under in pitch. That means I'm not supporting enough. Here we go. Much much better, right? So that's how you know you need to work on your support if you're a little bit under in pitch. Going on to the next exercise, we are going to work on creating a lighter connection in the chest voice range so that you have a better time transitioning to your mixed voice or your head voice. You're gonna sing on the word hey, slide up a third interval, back down, and then you're gonna sing a 3-note scale. It's a combo exercise, but focus on having a light connection. You still want your vocal folds to come in firmly and have enough air to come out to create sound, but not pressing on those vocal cords just to create power in your voice. Power comes from amplifying your sound with your voice bouncing off the walls of your mouth. And that's why shaping your mouth in a certain way affects how powerful your sound can be. But this is how the exercise sounds like. That's it. We don't need to be louder or anything. We are trying to work on managing our airflow. Now, in order for you to manage your airflow, you have to think about volume. Keep a steady and consistent volume for this exercise, just so that you can learn that you don't need to push more air out to create sound, especially when you try to get higher and higher and higher. But we're only going to focus around your chest voice range. Alrighty, so let's do a few with me. Here we go. Keep a light connection. As we go higher, don't get louder. What tends to happen to a lot of people is that as you start to go higher near the end of your chest voice range, we just want to push and push, but that's going to choke off our airway if we do that. For example, this is what it sounds like if you are pushing or straining your throat just to get the note out. So go for a lighter connection. There you go, and that's going to help you transition a lot easier to your higher notes and back down to your chest voice range if you just focus on having a lighter connection. But you need to understand how to control your volume as well, and volume is how much air you are expelling out. Now let's do a song example so that you can hear what it sounds like to sing in your chest voice. You're gonna feel the vibrations around your chest area. That's how you know you are in your chest voice range, and it's usually where the lower notes is at. However, remember, it's different for every person. This might be really high for some people, but this might be really low for some. So you really got to determine where your chest voice range is at and what is technically considered low for you. For this song that I'm about to sing, it is low for me. It sits right where my chest voice range is at. So we are singing There Are Worse Things I Could Do from Grease. Just the beginning part, it starts right on this B here, which is where my natural speaking voice is at, which is perfect. So it starts, there are worse things I could do. So it's right where my chest voice is at. It does go a little bit high towards the end of my chest voice range, so I really gotta manage how much air is coming out so that I don't strain myself, and keep an open mouth, keep it tall so that I don't strain or hike up my larynx too high. Okay, so let's try that again so that you can hear what it sounds like. It's not lofty or light like I would sing it in my head voice. So if this was an octave higher, it would be in my head voice like this. There are worse things. That's really high. That's in my head voice range. Okay, let's do it again so you can hear it. There are worse things I could do than go with a boy or two. Now the the challenge with singing that song is sustaining the long note. Sometimes if we haven't strengthened or conditioned our vocal cords yet, our vocal cords will come apart when air is going through for that long. That's why it's so important to practice, to regularly exercise your muscles so that they can come together more firmly, but also stay connected while you are expelling your air out. So let's do that part again, and I want to show you what it sounds like if my vocal cords come apart when I try to hold out that long note. There are worse things I could do. And that's how cracking happens. Okay, that was an example of me not keeping my cords together long enough. Now, what happens if I press too hard, if I make my vocal cords come together too much, too heavy, too press? This is what it would sound like. And try not to do this. I'm only showing you an example because this could be very dangerous. Here we go. There are worse things I could do. Right? I start to feel a little scratch already because I'm rubbing my vocal cords too much. So lighten up on that chord connection, but you want to create that full and resonant sound so that it can carry your voice and you can project it on stage. Okay, let's try that again with more of a lighter connection. There are worse things I could do. Okay, and if you want to add that vibrato there at the end to embellish that note, you can. Now let's do something to work on your breath control. We're gonna play around with dynamics. You are going to crescendo that note and then decrescendo near the end of that note. Crescendo means to gradually get louder. Decrescendo means to gradually get softer. This is a great way to practice managing your breath. So this is what it would sound like if you are going to try this out. There are worse things I could do. There you go. So that's how you're going to play around with breath management if you want to. Also, it's a great way to add something to that long note. If you just hold it out at the same volume, it could get a little boring unless you add that vibrato at the end. Then you embellish it a little bit more, add some flavor to it. Or you can add dynamics like what I just showed you so that it evokes a certain emotion in that note. Okay, so let's try it again with that volume control. You're going to crescendo and then decrescendo on that sustaining note. The hard part is keeping your chords together while also playing around with the volume. There are worse things I could do than go with a boy or two. Even though the neighborhood thinks I'm trashy and no good, I suppose it could be true. But there's worse things I could do. So all of that was in my chest voice range. I didn't need to go to my head voice at all. So this song is perfect for working on your chest voice. If it sits in your range, you can change the key to fit your vocal type if you want to, okay? Alrighty, so you have 3 exercises to help you work on your chest voice and a song that you can try on your own if you want to develop your chest voice even more. But if you want something to warm up your chest voice in real time, check out my video where I do a whole vocal warm-up for the chest voice, and I would love for you to check that out. But thank you so much for watching. That's all for now, and I'll see you next time.